Hi, I'm Mason, and this is my thesis of creating a threshold from ocean to oil rig. In the beginning of my thesis, I really focused heavily on finding abandoned oil rigs off the coast of California that were prime subject to be close to what's known as the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Basically, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is a massive 1.6 kilometer wide pile of trash, mostly plastics that's just floating in the ocean. This pile is about 80,000 tons, and most of the plastics that make it up are the size of your fingernail. So, in creating this thesis of ocean to oil rig, I wanted to focus on the journey from land to the oil rig itself, bringing people um, such as workers who would clean up the oil rig, scientists who would help discover what everything's meaning, and tourists to help bring news and other such things to the facility. But to get a little closer in, I wanted to focus on the journey from dock to the top of the oil rig itself. And so this goes from many iterations of how one should lift people, one should lift plastics, one should lift anything, where to lift it, how to lift it, when to lift it. Um, and I really try to focus on creating this journey from um, dock to oil rig. Um, I really came to a conclusion that I wanted a system of ramps and lifts to move both people and materials to the top of the oil rig. Um, the ramp portion, which was my main focus in architecture, was a simplistic steel glass ramp that would go around the sides of the oil rig in such a way that would try and stay in the shadows to avoid the heavy sunlight, but would eventually peak at the top and give quite the view. So I wanted cold materials, aluminum and copper get really, really hot in the sunlight, but things such as brass and steel have a lot lower thermal temperatures, so sunlight won't heat them up quite as much and burn to the touch. Um, so in creating this ramp, I looked at technology that is used to capture plastics in the ocean without harming any wildlife. And I gained shape from it and used it to create my steel grates that would then be used as ramps. These ramps would flow from the dock up and around the oil rig, only focus on the shadow that the oil rig creates to avoid this harsh sunlight from the east. There's also a flat surface that would spread around the oil rig and give views the close to the surface life of the oil rig. With a dock, though, comes a floating mechanism in the water. So I created a mechanism that would strafe out from the original ramp and allow itself to further distance itself onto the dock if the dock were lower or higher in certain aspects. And so basically, I wanted to focus on the journey to help people remember why they're out there helping clean up the ocean from all the plastics that's destroying all the wildlife it can. And so the huge focus of movement kind of forced me to create life that was going on right before you made the big change, right before you went out to get the plastics, right after you came back to pour in the plastics that you captured, to really focus and help you remember the journey of why you're there.